So we've just turned up, Sharon. Where are we?
We're at Anne Hathaway's cottage. So if you're not aware, that is Shakespeare's wife. And this is where she lived because they weren't always together. He spent an awful lot of time in London. The Globe Theatre was in London. So he was working there and writing his plays, his digs in London. And Anne was here with the family and the children.
So this is just the entrance and the cottages that are alongside. These are, well, this one is certainly private, but we're going to go in to the entrance and see if we're going to be allowed to paint. Look at this beautiful cottage. And it is bigger than you think, isn't it?
That is lovely, isn't it? I expected it to be half that size.
Yeah. Now I haven't even started and I'm just looking at these fantastic patterns that have come, the shadows that have come up on my paper, and I'd quite like to draw those out and then do an acrylic pour on it. Which I did go home and do, and this is the painting I created of the shadow of some lilacs in my garden, which I had great fun doing. It's a metre square painting, so it's quite a big one, and it was great fun. Oh, that's a different song.
It's lovely, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
Birdies tweeting.
Beautiful. I've fattened up the chimney already. It's surprising how long the whole thing is. I don't think I'm going to get to the end. I'm kind of...
It's so much bigger than I expected it to be, I have to say.
Now those who know me know I don't often do much drawing, but this demands it. It's higgledy-piggledy, it's all over the place, but it demands a certain amount of information. There's trees down there, another tree up there. I'm just putting my cottage in. It's about halfway.
I wouldn't be able to do this without the drawing, would you?
I'd really struggle. If I did it in acrylic, I would probably do it without the drawing, but yeah, it wouldn't be an easy one to do. But we haven't been round it yet, but we will do. But we can see that the floors aren't level. They don't all match up. There's windows. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different levels if you look at the windows.
Yeah, yes, that's true. So I wonder if that sort of echoes indoors, you know, if that's the case, when you actually go in.
Yeah, I can imagine some rooms will be tall and some will be very low. Yeah. And you spotted that on the chimney it has IH 1697.
IH presumably is the builder, wouldn't you
Well,
think?
either that or it was Mr. Hathaway who built the cottage.
Oh,
Anne Hathaway's dad, perhaps.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Or granddad. I think it would have been dad age-wise, wouldn't it?
Have you ever watched the TV series called Upstart Crow?
Yes.
Oh, I love it. I adore it. Written by, what's his name?
David? No, that David Mitchell, that one, is it?
Yes, it is. Yes.
David Mitchell.
Yes, so funny. It's Shakespeare, but with a kind of comedy twist, isn't it?
Yeah.
He writes his plays, and everybody else comes up with the names, good names for his plays, like Twelfth Night, and he makes up the most bizarre names, doesn't he? I mean, if they had have been called that, they would never have gotten anywhere.
Might have been more popular in schools though, if they got some of the bizarre names.
Oh, it's a lovely series. If you get the chance to find it, I would have a little look, because it's really amusing. It's soft and it's gentle, and the characters are just hilarious. We're very lucky to be here. We're very lucky to have this kind of history, aren't we?
Oh, good grief, yes. We're not so lucky to have the pile driver going.
No, I know. I wonder what they're up to.
You can almost see the shape that the trees would have been that the beams are made from.
Yeah, yes. How wonky the chimneys are.
Yeah.
We're next to a road, so we're going to have to put up with the road noise a little bit, but it's not that busy, is it?
Not particularly busy, and to be fair, other people are allowed to come and visit as well. It's not just ours. I'd love it to be ours for the day, but it's not.
It's totally charming though, isn't it?
Isn't it just? I don't know what that was that went past, but it needs some attention.
It needs to be in the garage.
It does.
Didn't sound very well, did it?
It didn't sound very well at all.
This house is utterly charming. The brickwork over here on the right-hand side
I don't know if I could fit that big.
is rather beautiful. As in, so we're talking Tudor times, aren't we here?
Yep.
Tudor times, it was quite something to have fancy brickwork. You know, you were posh if you could have good brickwork. My window's in completely the wrong place.
Well, that's no good.
Completely the wrong place. And
There's
making
so
these too
much
big.
to this house.
It's blooming complicated, everybody.
Yeah. Don't normally do complicated.
Complicated.
No, I don't normally do complicated. And the trouble with beamage is if anybody knows this building,
Oh, you can't do it wrong.
they will look at you and go, oh
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
no, that beam doesn't go there.
You know what we call those, don't you?
What do we call those?
Rivet counters.
Okay. And we have all these beautiful gardens. And then here's the cottage, and we're going to go in. We're not allowed to film in the cottage, but we'll tell you all about it. So this was the old kitchen in the house, and we were focused in and loved the shoes that were on the floor. And these shoes are raised on a little platform to keep your feet out of all the muck that would have been on these gorgeous flagstones. A dirty brush, but I'm going to wet the sky. Mr. Blackbird, I hope you're not cross with us.
Are you talking about artistic licence? Oh, you have put the railings in from the front door.
I have, but not just sort of suggested at them, really.
Makes sense, I suppose, doesn't it?
But the door in one part of the building is 4 foot higher than the door in the other part of the building.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that this cottage was built and added to.
Yeah, must be.
Yeah. So as you say, we'll find out more when we go in and have a look around.
Have a little chat with them.
Do it properly.
And when the Shakespeares married, William Shakespeare was only 18, but Anne Hathaway was 26, and she was already 3 months pregnant at that point. So he was quite a character. They had 3 children, and only one of them ended up having any children of their own. So they had 1 granddaughter, but sadly the granddaughter didn't have any children of her own, so there are no known descendants from the Shakespeare line, unfortunately. However, the Hathaway family lived here continuously until 1911, and that completed 368 years of one family living in this property. So it's been a pretty remarkable Hathaway Shakespeare family home.
That's lovely. When we first sat down, everybody, we heard an owl hoot in the trees behind us, didn't we?
We did.
That was rather exciting.
Unexpected. Although we do have Mr. Wall who lives near us in our house, and he pops out during the day every now and then and just says hello.
Now, what do they say about owls? If they've got light eyes, they're day hunters, aren't they?
Diurnal.
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 Diurnal is daytime hunter. Nocturnal is the nighttime hunter.
And they've got dark eyes, haven't
Yeah,
they?
and the one in the middle is some hunt at dawn and dusk. And they're usually the ones with the orange eyes, and they are crepuscular.
Ooh, I love that word.
It's a fabulous word,
It's
isn't
one
it?
of those words that really describes what it is, doesn't
Yes.
it?
So that's the daybreak and sunset. It's that sort of half-light time. Yeah.
And the windows are all sorts of shapes and sizes, aren't they?
And they're all blooming lid-like windows, so how are we going to do those?
Carefully.
Oops, I'm just throwing something at us. I think that's the blackbirds.
I like this era of building. This is the era that my doll's house is.
Oh, yes. The colour I'm going to use for the frontage of the building, I've got a quinacridone gold, but I'm taking it down to almost nothing.
Okay.
And a little bit of muck off the palette.
Yeah, we like muck off the palette.
We do like muck off the palette. What do you reckon? Should I just try?
Go for it.
Because I can paint over all of the beams, because the beams are a lot darker than the frontage. When Shakespeare died, he left Anne Hathaway his second best bed. I don't know who he left his best bed to, but he left her his second best bed. Bed frames in the time of Shakespeare were supported by ropes underneath the mattress attached to a frame, which could go slack over time. So they had a wooden key where they could tighten the ropes for a better night's sleep, and that's where the phrase sleep tight comes from. Now, a couple of days ago, I went and watched the beautiful Sharon do a demonstration, and it was amazing. And she made a comment that you can do all your drawing and you could be 5 minutes into your painting when you realise your paper might be a bit dud. That it might have, the size might have aged too much. And I've got a feeling it might be that. Look how granulated. I know it granulates a bit, but it's gone...
Yeah, it looks a bit fluffy, doesn't it?
It's gone a bit weird. But it might make it look a bit old. I'm not doing all that drawing again.
No, leave it be.
Interesting.
What?
I think I'm just going to have to sit and watch that.
See what happens.
I'm going to sit and watch paint dry before I carry on. Gosh, this is complicated.
I'm still drawing.
Oh gosh, I think I've done this too big.
Do you? Can you rejig?
Well, the only saving grace is that there's bushes in front of it.
Well, put more bushes in.
So, when in doubt, bung in a bush. That's my professional opinion.
It really is all over the shop, isn't it, this? Because I've got beams here. I need to fit in somehow. Lordy.
I probably should be.
Still drawing. I'm finding the woodwork and the beamwork on the building is really quite challenging.
It's quite a challenge, isn't it?
And getting the proportions right.
That was enough coffee, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Might be time to go find a coffee shop. No, stop being a wuss. Get on with your work.
Still got that window in the wrong place.
Could you not just go... Would it be easier to go to the house and move the window in
Yes,
the house rather
yes.
than keep repainting it?
The next part of this extravaganza is the paints and brushes here. Have you noticed?
They do. I once went out painting when we were on holiday, and my husband and I hiked up this hill to get a vista,
Yeah.
and I lugged all of my paints with me and got there and realised I had not brought my brush, and I had not
You
brought
are
a single
joking.
brush with me.
Oh, did you go all sort of
I
wilding?
went all ethnic and organic, and I chewed the end of a stick
Oh my God!
and used that to paint with.
Now, when that happens, everybody, do not chew any kind of stick.
No, be careful what sticks you choose.
Have a little care. Don't really want to poison ourselves, do we?
But it did make me smile. Well, it made me fume to start off with, and it made my husband
Oh, I bet you-
howl with
yes,
laughter.
I can imagine. Oh, how annoying.
Yep. All my paints, everything, and it was acrylic.
Oh, how annoying.
So I just used the side of my
Silly.
hand, I was using thumbnails, I was using sticks. It wasn't the greatest painting I've ever done.
You've only got to turn your back, haven't you, when the paint dries?
Yes. But that is part of the point. You do need it to.
You know how Henry shouted out a horse, kingdom for my horse,
Yes.
at Bosworth? I'd love to shout out right now, masking fluid, masking fluid.
My kingdom for some masking fluid.
Oh gosh.
If only you had some magic sponge you could use to pull something out.
Yeah, that's in my car at home. Rather a long way away. Now then, Sharon.
What are you doing, Mrs. Hurst?
Well, I'm really concerned about these here windows because when I first saw them, I thought to myself, oh, leaded light will be easy, like that little teeny tiny diamonds. I'll just use masking fluid. No, I won't.
Okay, I have a potential saviour for you.
Oh, go on. Oh, pens.
Silver pens, silver and grey pens.
Ah. Uh-huh.
That's what I'm going to do.
So what are you going to do? You're going to paint the windows really, because they're black, aren't they?
Yep,
They're
really dark.
absolutely dark.
Black as your hat.
Apart from one up there that's got the light shining on it, which is this one up here.
And there's one with the window open that's got curtains.
Yes, red curtains, yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm going to draw lead lights over the top.
Okay.
This lovely lady was one of the volunteers at the cottage, and she was telling us all sorts of tales about things that would have gone on at the time, including saying that they no longer are able to have any products within the house that have wool in them, because they attract the moths which would damage not only the wool but all sorts of other things that are irreplaceable within the house. It's drying better than it was when it first went on.
Don't do it, people. Don't keep that special piece of paper.
No, just use it.
For a special day. It doesn't work. And up with all sorts of issues. And I'm using my Pink Pig sketchbook here. What about you? What are you?
I'm on my Bockingford paper, I
Yeah.
think, but I did just pull this piece of paper out of the cupboard and I don't know how old it is. But I'm fairly certain it's a bit of Bockingford. But I do love the Pink Pig sketchbooks.
So do I. I really do. I love the way they take the paint, and it's the best of everything as far as I'm concerned, really.
Really good quality paper.
And that is genuine, actually, chaps and folks and folkesses, because you know, there is no sponsorship or anything there. It's just that we really like the product. So for us, it works, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, when you find something that ain't broke, we don't try and fix it.
Fix it.
It's drying out all right, but you know, it just didn't feel right going on in that sky.
Yeah.
Hey ho, we will survive. We will fight another.
Survive as long as I know how to live. I know I'll stay alive.
Well, I just started painting my chimney without putting my glasses on.
Oh, no, don't.
I'm nearly painted next to the chimney. I wasn't by the line at all. I don't know what the word for it is, but on the top of the thatch there's this little
Yes,
bit,
the crisscross.
the crisscrossy bit.
It's
but
the stitching, isn't it?
yeah,
It's
but
like
it's looking
stitching.
a bit tired.
Yes,
Looks like,
it's worn out.
yes. I don't know how it feels.
I think I'm going to go into my thatch with a bit of dry brush because I want to give the impression of some texture.
Yes. I'm using gold on my. I'm going to put some gold on my.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm revolting like that.
Usually me that goes for the bling.
Now the other thing I've just noticed, when I first sat down here, the shadows were very clear on one side of the chimneys.
Of course they're not now.
They've gone. So I'm going to put them in where they were, and I'm going to have to try and work my shadows all in, all of a sudden, as to where they were. Crikey. Do you know what? If you enjoy it, you will do it, and if you do it, you will get better.
Yeah.
And really, if you're painting for you, it doesn't matter what the results are.
No.
You're not. You don't have to show anybody.
I've said that to you, haven't I?
That's true.
They're very nice. Very nice.
Thank you, my darling.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah.
Really nice.
Oh, it's been nice talking to you.
And
And
you
you.
too.
And
And
you.
you.
It's
Lovely to meet you.
Eh?
Be inspired.
Yeah.
Go and have a go.
All right then.
All right then, take
All
care.
right,
Enjoy
see
the
ya.
rest of the
Bye.
day.
Bye.
Don't you meet some nice things?
You do meet some lovely people, don't you?
It's almost got ridges in it, hasn't it? Where
Yeah. Well, you can see where they patted the
yes, exactly.
patty cake thing.
With the special tooly thing.
Yeah, I don't know what that special tooly thing
No,
is
I
called.
don't either. It's
If
a
anybody
special
knows,
tooly
please tell
thing,
us
isn't
what
it?
the special tooly thing is that they use to slap the thatch back onto a roof and set it in place. Somebody's doing the hoovering. I'm banging in a bush.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a bit of
Bushery.
bushage in.
I'm going to give the impression of the string on the roof, even though it's not all
Okay,
there.
yeah.
Because they usually do it in, there are, you can see it, in kind of crisscrosses,
Yes,
don't they?
where it hasn't fallen off. It's,
Yeah,
it's in
yeah.
patterns, yeah.
So they'll have a little bit of that just to give the impression.
When I was a young thing, and I was young once, a long, long time ago, I did a couple of drawings from around this area. They were pen and ink. So I did Anne Hathaway's cottage, and I also did Shakespeare's birthplace, which you'll see in just a minute. But they were both done with dip pen and ink, and they took me forever. But I really enjoyed doing them, and I was quite surprised to find that I still had them. I need to come in with some foliage.
What?
Foliage.
Foliage.
Have you never put some foliage in your painting?
Foliage.
There's a big tree in the middle.
My daddy used to have some lovely words and phrases. We always used to use plasticated bags when we went shopping.
My granddad used to make up words. We had a family word that nuggy was one of our family words. I've never heard anybody else use it, but my granddad swore it was a real word. Snuggly and warm. Like, you know, when you kind of snuggle up on the sofa, have a duvet day, you're sitting there and you're all nuggy.
Yeah, I like it. I only ever have those when I was sick.
Yes. And we've had a few of those recently between us, haven't we?
Yes.
We've had COVID and we've had broken limbs,
Yeah, you
broke my
your
foot,
didn't you?
broken bones.
For God's sake.
Your husband's had new hips,
Yeah,
or hip.
yeah. I've done COVID.
Yeah.
Currently seem to be struggling with the aftermath of it too, which I could do without, I
And
have to confess.
I absolutely empathise with you.
You had all that, didn't you,
Yeah.
last year?
It is not a pleasant place to be.
It's really hurt. Yeah, 106.
I still don't think there's enough contrast and oomph. I'm feeling oomphless.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but that's because we're sitting here and it's become very dull.
Not the scene, the weather.
Yeah. So I feel that I don't have any real contrast to work with.
Yeah. I'm going to make some oomph up because I want oomph. So here's Sharon's finished piece, which I think is stunning. I hope you'll agree with me on that. It was really a very, very complicated draw and paint on this one, but we had a great deal of fun. And here's what my one ended up looking like. I still think it lacks a little bit of oomph, but considering what we had on the day, I think I'm quite happy with that. It was a really lovely day and we had a nice tour of the house. Wasn't that exciting? We just had a wander around the house.
Yes, and a nice chat to the ladies and gentlemen inside, who the custodians, the stewards, really. Some very, very interesting facts. Will married
William Shakespeare.
18 years old, and Anne was 26.
And apparently heavily pregnant.
Yes, so he was her toy boy, wasn't he? I find that quite an interesting and fun fact.
Yes.
Denise has got an interesting fact about the bedding.
Well, it's a couple of things, but one of the things about the bed is instead of having like wooden slats under the bed because wood was so expensive, your bed support was ropes.
Crisscross
Ropes in a hatch pattern, and they had a key that you could use to tighten the ropes up so that you didn't sag in your bed, and that's where the phrase sleep tight comes from. I didn't know that.
How clever is that?
Yes.
Now the other thing about the beds, did you know that they used to sleep sitting up? Why? Why did they sleep sitting up?
Well, they believed that sleep was the state between life and death, and if you lay down to sleep you might be mistaken for being dead and your spirit would be taken away. So they slept
So they slept
sitting
up. And this is the reason why the beds are so small and so short. It's not because they were small people.
They said the average man was 5'7".
Was 5'7", and women were sort of not that much shorter,
No.
were they? So there's that's interesting in itself, isn't it? Lots and lots of interesting little bits and pieces in the house there
Fascinating.
today.
Yes.
So we've thoroughly enjoyed our day here, haven't we?
And we've met some lovely people.
And we've met some nice people. And funnily enough, some of them are standing right here behind me. So everybody, thank you very much. More information within the video. Just watch on. Bye.
Bye. Now this is just a very quickie. We've come out of Anne Hathaway's cottage, and I have to say all of the staff, all of the team there could not have been more welcoming and more supportive of what we were doing today. Got to give a special mention though. What was her name? Janet.
Yeah.
Little Janet, she touched us. So Janet, thank you for your reaction to what we've been doing. You moved us, my darling. house at all there. Let's go back a little bit. Back here, and then the house is through the what's it? Through the fart hole.
Right, so where are we starting with?